Yes.
Alright, welcome back to Stoneface Reactions. I'm Raktus, this is Chey. We're here for another summertime render, where I feel like I'm in for some disappointment.
Yeah, it does kind of seem to be the direction that we're headed in right now. I remember both of us being really very dissatisfied with the last episode, to put it simply, I guess.
Well, I feel like we reached the peak of the mountain at episode 9. On
Hmm.
episode 10, no, sorry, episode 8 we hit the peak of the mountain. Episode 9 we were a bit for at the beginning. We talked about it afterwards, and we thought it had some emotional impact. So let's just call that the plateau. And now it
Yeah,
seems like we're coming down the other side of the plateau.
yeah, it definitely feels like that. I'm really hoping with the remaining, what is it, 14 episodes, 15, that I'm really hoping it can come back. I really hope they do something to subvert that expectation we kind of share now, but
13.
13, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things we're just gonna have to take week by week.
Man, it's entirely possible, given the nature of metaphor that I've been choosing to use, that we could just be in the valley between two
Hmm.
mountains.
I'm hoping that would be amazing.
Well, the writer could have been like, I can't maintain this amount of awesome. The only way to bring them back now is to make them disappointed for the eventual return to awesome.
That would be a real big brain play, but a really sad one, I think.
I mean, you
Because
gotta.
two episodes out of 11 right now being not that great. I'd say nine strong episodes would keep me watching if there were two bad ones in a row. You know,
Right, like say, you gotta give them a hook that'll
right?
keep them invested.
And the first, like you said, the first 8 episodes, oof, so good. I'm hoping we're going back to that soon.
I don't know if it's a valley and we have 13. We have another 3 or 4 bad episodes
Yeah, it
before
might
we
not be
start
soon.
climbing again, and we don't know how deep the sinkhole gets.
We do not. But I don't know. I think we're mostly past the whole investigation phase of the show. Now we're kind of just in the action phase.
I still think there's a lot of investigation left. There's a lot of things we don't know everything
What
about.
what else are we looking at? Just so I can keep that in my head then.
We have the hair up, hair down one.
Hmm.
Their family murder at the mountainside many years ago. We
Okay.
don't know
Yep.
what everything that led up to that, the motivations of the shadows during that time.
We
I
don't
mean,
even know their motivations now though.
well, I mean,
Apart
what
from bringing back the mother,
what they're doing
we
now,
don't know what her motivation is.
what they're doing now is leading up to an event where they're going to wipe out the entire island.
Right.
What happened back at the mountain a long time ago, they didn't wipe out the entire island. I think
Right. It was
otherwise,
her family.
yeah, otherwise I think people would be talking about that time everyone on the island died. And I don't think they would just hide that from us. Unless that's
I don't think
something
so.
stupid that's going to happen in this episode where we're going to find out about the underground cult that
And
all,
everyone was a shadow the whole time.
which it couldn't be because we've seen the little girl die
Yeah, I know.
and she's been like the motivating factor for the shadows now. Old guy
I feel
knows
like
something too.
yeah. I lost my thought. I had one, it just vanished instantly.
Well, it started with, I think,
I know, and then apparently I don't.
well, an old guy knows something because he knew independently of the hair up, hair down.
Mhm.
And they
And he
came
already knows about
back.
shadows too.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is he knows independently of the author of Bog People or whatever the book was called. Swamp People?
Oh god, I just considered it such an unimportant detail I didn't pertain it.
Right, I just saw an opening there in a microsecond of a possible nickname for the character instead of hair up, hair down.
I'll call them Swamp Thing.
Well, that's not where I was going. I was going with a artist formerly known as Prince, the author who wrote Swamp Thing or whatever, Swamp People.
I can work with that.
But yeah, no, there's that. What they were up to that many years ago, and that they didn't do the same thing they're doing now.
Hmm.
Uh, Hunter's backstory, why he knows so much, and I think he gave a hint previously. I don't know if this is something rattling around in my head, possibly untrue, where I think he said something about having sacrificed everything.
Not registering to me, but it would track.
Right, like I said, I don't remember because he's only had like 3 good diatribes of giving information. Otherwise,
Sounds about right.
his stuff has been like sniping at shadows at people's feet. This has been more action-oriented stuff.
True.
I mean, we still have the mystery of Mother to begin with.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking the link between the fishing god and whatever's going on now, because the fact that they bothered to bring it back up means it's relevant, especially since the statue is in the weird baby shadow caves, you know?
Right, like some sort of event that happens.
Yeah.
God, that never works out right when you think about it. Because the only thing I
No.
can think about with that sort of thing is Predator versus Aliens.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still working under the theory that the fishing god is the shadow mother. Purely because she's referred to as the mother, and like that thing was depicted as a pregnant goddess.
Yeah, no,
And this thing has at least has that kind of power, so I'm still working with that theory.
I suspect that that's the arc we're in right now, is connecting
Yeah,
the fishing god to the mother, but at the same time, it's not a. I don't care.
yeah.
Right? It's
Unless it holds some secret to beating the shadows as a whole, I don't really see it mattering.
even then I wouldn't care. I feel like that could have just been exposition worthy. Like that could have been a library episode.
Oh, I totally get you with that, and I'm with you, but basically what I'm saying is as long as we get something out of like these disappointing couple of episodes, I'll probably be fine with that. There needs to be some takeaway.
I feel like the show is done better when it's. I don't know how to put. When it's mystery involved people. Because even the
Yeah.
shadows are just basically people.
And we understand what they are now, right? Like we don't have their intentions, but we understand what they are for the most part, how they work.
Well, I mean, we kind of understand their biology.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much know what they are. But even then, they're still throwing us, left hand turns like, oh, the shadows can also turn into objects.
Or at the
So,
very least, Mio or Ushio can.
so now it's a prop hunt episode where any object could now also be a shadow, which is now, I think that's just taking it too far. Like literally
I
any
agree.
object.
Because, like, honestly, the paranoia involved with that'll kill you before the fucking shadows do.
Well, so the
I mean, unless
obvious,
they're an anime character, but
the obvious extrapolation there is now we're going to think back, like something that's been on screen since episode 1 is going to turn out to have been a shadow as an object the
that
entire time. And it's like,
would be fucking funny.
this wouldn't be funny. It would be not unnerving. It would be just disruptive. Like,
It would, but I feel like I'd probably laugh.
how did the shadows figure out that we've been doing this whole time? Well, it turns out that there's this one shadow that's been traveling with you through time as an object on your person.
I think the only problem with that, like, I know it's like a joke, right? But like, the only problem with that is like, they haven't been consistently like stopping them and roadblocking them. If they've run into the shadows, it's because they were trying to, or just coincidence.
I don't know, there was the one, I found you thing, which could be the reveal of that.
Well, again, that was the mother. That's something else entirely.
Right, the fact that we don't know means that there is still more to learn. But at the same time, this could be written from the aspect of the less you know, the more enjoyable it is.
Well, I mean that was kind of what was so fun for it at first. Like every episode, we'd talk for a half hour or so, just theory crafting, you know. And
Yeah,
now we don't really like have that opportunity anymore,
because
for
everything
the
has
most
been
part.
given to us so far as a
Right.
this world exists and you have to figure out the rules of the world, and not a we're gonna tell you everything so that you understand the rules of the world. A
Right.
living world isn't explained to you. A living world, um,
Happens to you.
like the new Doctor Strange movie, right?
I actually saw this one. Let's talk. Yeah, let's go.
Well, yeah, like they go to a different universe, and it's just like this universe has its own rules and
Yeah,
laws.
yeah.
Don't walk on red, or don't go on red. Sorry, go on red. It's like,
Right.
and most universes don't have money. That's just we're not going to explain it to you. You just go there and you figure it out. It's a
Right.
living world with its own rules.
Right, right. A living world like happens to you and you happen to it, right? Like nobody's gonna sit there and be like, "Hey, welcome to the world. So here's how things work here." You know what I mean? Like I find that boring.
Especially not if you're expected to already know.
Yeah, like oh my god. Like one of the most annoying things about isekai anime to me is, "Hey, I'm gonna go to this world and spend the first 2 or 3 episodes just having it explained to me."
Right, right. That's basically the thing. Because if you put that into context of somebody who lives in that world, how annoying would it be to have everything in the world explained to you
Well,
every
imagine
day?
like imagine you somehow end up with some person from another world like living with you, right? You're gonna like have to explain to them like that's a computer, like that's a car, that's a cat. You know, like every little thing they look at, you're gonna have to like explain it in detail. And this is stuff that like it's just you don't have to think about it. This is just information you've always had because you exist there, right?
Right.
So like I don't know. I kind of like that that's not the direction we're going in with this show. I get really, really bored of that really fast. When we have like the world happening to the character happening to the world, and just we find out through action, it's the most engaging thing as a viewer because you're participating at that point instead of just sitting there. And we definitely had that for so long. If we
It's
could find some way to wrap back around and present a mystery like that again, that would be
this would be the
it would feel
second
more like the tone of the show, you know what I mean?
it'll be the second reaction today that I'm bringing this up. That's funny. It's very much Detective Conan.
Ah! It's
Where,
universal.
well, you live
Detective
in
Conan, like it came with so many of these like tropes. Like Detective Conan is like how do
why
I
it's
word
so
it? It's
long running.
what's the word? It's influential. There we go.
Well, I mean, it didn't invent any of this stuff. It just does it very well.
Exactly. Yeah. It
It's
helps like
Scooby-Doo
influence
wrapped up in
these things.
Matlock, wrapped up in Murder, She Wrote. It's you live in this world because it's supposed to be the real world, but obviously it has its own, I don't know if you call it supernatural elements, because obviously real life people don't get reverse aged down to a child.
Hmm.
And super technology doesn't exist that guy gives him that allows him to do the things to still solve the crimes. But otherwise, you still live in a real world. Well, real stuff happens, and you're still beholden to physics and psychology, and like nobody does nothing for no reason or something.
Right.
Nobody does things for no reason. Even a psychopath has a psychology to it that you
Right.
understand what they're doing. So that when you see how did this guy die in this room all by himself? And Detective Conan has to go through the clues to figure it out. And you're along for the ride trying to figure it out because you understand how the world works. And at
Right.
the end of the episode, you're like, oh, he wasn't in the room alone because that would be fucking insane. This other person killed him in this room and made it look like he was in the room alone through all of this fake clues that he's created along the way. And if you were thinking about it hard enough, you would have put it together too, because they're very obvious in the way that they're hidden obvious, which is all the clues that we've been given in this show. Like, oh, this guy's been talking about the time a lot. He's been taking pictures all throughout this thing. And it's like, oh, obviously he's creating himself a false alibi. Now we understand. Because he doesn't want to be placed in that room where the guy died that he killed. It's like, oh, okay, this is why Conan is an awesome detective show. And that's why this show has been so good so far, is because obstinately, beyond the shadow element, this is the real world.
Mhm.
Now we've gone really hard into the shadow element. So it's becoming less and less real and harder to lean into with obviously this is why this is happening. And now we're just so deep into the shadow element that it's detracting from the enjoyment of the mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really concise way to sum up how it feels right now. That last little bit there.
I guess the rest of it was just my super enjoyment of Detective Conan.
Well, no, I mean, like, it lended context to it, and it all made sense, and it all I agree with it all, but, like, that last little bit really just, like, summed everything up nice and sweet is what I'm saying.
Alright, one last bit before we get into the show.
Totally. Yeah,
There's an
what you
element,
got?
Detective Conan again.
Sure, yeah.
There's an element of Detective Conan that I love that at the end of every episode, they do a little siren thing, and there's a little billboard he stands next to, and it's just a fucking everyday object.
Uh-huh.
But it's always the major clue to who the culprit is in the next episode.
Oh,
Like,
that's so cool!
I mean, you never seen that?
No, no,
I
I've
mean,
only heard about Detective Conan,
yeah,
I
no,
haven't actually taken time.
the episode will be over, the credits will run, and then it'll be next time, and it'll go, where, watermelon. And I'm like, okay. And then, lo and
Watermelon.
behold, next episode, even while you're watching it, I have no idea how the fucking watermelon is going to enter into this. And by the time at the end he's explaining the motivations and how the deed was done, boom, watermelon, I got it. I understand. That's why
That's
it's,
super cool, I really appreciate that.
yeah, it's like the Scooby Doo mystery, except you're given a clue that makes no sense when the episode starts and is perfectly 100% acceptable by the end.
Out
But
of
yeah,
curiosity, I was just checking, like, how many episodes are in Detective Conan,
second
and
longest.
I was gonna say, my god, I better never hear anyone talking shit about One Piece again. It's got a beat by a few episodes.
Does it have a beat? I thought One Piece is a couple ahead.
Oh, wait, where is One Piece at?
Last I saw, 1,025.
Conan's at 1050.
Oh, okay. See, my problem is I only got like 100 or so into Detective Conan.
Mhm.
Detective Conan also has a couple of movies,
Yeah, it's
but
got a fair few.
I mean, One Piece has movies too. But my
Oh,
problem
man,
is
I'm looking
that
forward to
I
the Shanks one.
don't know how you get 1,050 episodes in on Detective Conan and still have mysteries to solve. Like,
Right? Like, I don't think there's been that many mysteries in our world.
well, I mean, the joke has been made in Murder, She Wrote that at some point Agatha Christie has to be the only living person left in that town. The number of episodes she's had, because every episode is a murder. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable that she goes on vacation sometimes too. Like, what was it? Burn Notice. Burn Notice, they eventually sometimes. No, Monk, sorry. Monk. Monk eventually goes places and solves mysteries. The city he lives in isn't just full of crime all the time.
Mhm.
But you know, if you're ready to get into the show,
I'm very ready. I honestly I feel like I'm hoping this is the episode where it turns around.
I mean, we were
That's
stuck.
what I'm hoping for.
We're stuck in a cave with half-headed babies. I don't think this is going to be the turnaround episode, but I would be pleasantly
Well, that's at
surprised.
least how it's starting. You never know what'll happen.
You're right. I don't know what'll happen. I could be pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, if I
I'm just
live
gonna remain optimistic, you know?
if I live in despair, I'll never be disappointed. All right, so let's get into this.
Let's get into it. Ah, the author and the fisherman.
Well, Hunter.
True. I don't know why I keep calling him a fisherman. He just... Maybe it's the hat. That looks like a hat you
Because he
wear if
looks
you're
like
going
Gordon's
fishing.
fisherman.
I feel like I should know what you're talking about.
He's on the box of every Gordon fisherman product. It's a brand of seafood.
Do they have like
They've ever...
frozen shit in like the freezer aisle?
Yeah.
I've probably seen them then. Yeah, definitely.
Or I guess maybe Captain
Like
D's outside of his raincoat.
Like a yellow raincoat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one, yeah.
Pointedly, also those two are the two they didn't bring with them this year.
Are they targeting her because she's a shadow or because she's bleeding? Yo, this kid! You can fix everything with a can of WD-40.
Is WD-40 flammable?
I don't think so. I felt the need.
That's what they don't think it sprays that hard.
WD-40 is flammable.
I guess they're just down here on their own. Also, for some reason, they took half of their clothes off.
Okay, so it's flammable as an aerosol, otherwise it's just combustible.
Wonder why they took off most of their clothes to go down into the sewers.
I don't know, maybe they're horny. Don't judge, don't kink shame.
Dude wears work. What do you call them? What's Michael Myers' outfit called?
Oh, like the janitor like jumpsuit.
Yeah, dude wears like a janitor jumpsuit. You're gonna go down to the sewers. It seems like he was already wearing the perfect outfit.
Yeah, you're right.
But he stripped that off, and I was like wearing a wife beater.
So right.
And she was wearing like a short sleeve shirt with a jacket top. Now he didn't like strap shirt thing anyway. I just don't understand is why in this show where these two characters specifically never change their clothes. Which is also odd, by the way. It's what I thought they might have been shadows at one point too. I guess it's just a weird thought because we're 11 episodes in. Of course, they haven't changed their clothes. They've only been living the same 2 or 3 days over and over again. Although, to be fair, the author has worn the same clothes on 3 consecutive days. Just regardless of time travel.
That's just anime that isn't Bleach. I think that's the only show where they change clothes.
Mio changes clothes. The main character changes clothes. Bleach hair dude changes his clothes. Those
Maybe
two.
our main character is just really gross.
Or maybe the dude is a janitor. Maybe he is wearing changes of clothes underneath. Whatever you call the Michael Myers outfit thing.
You're not gonna want to be out there, dude. It's way too hot.
Of course, she was standing outside. No, wait, that's how you. She wasn't standing outside your house. Last time it was fake you.
Wait, hold up.
Yeah, he's supposed to be underground as far as I recall.
I was gonna say, he might just be Shiori, like, misleading him. Yep.
They don't change into other people. Oh, she's trying to lead them down there where everybody else is right now.
このマンホール蓋ずれちゃうら。
新平さんはこっち。どういうことな？この中にしんちゃんが？
Alright, what do you think? Leading them into a trap or trying to help?
いやない。見間違いやって。こんな中に。
I mean, I think she wants to help, but I think she's leading them into a trap inadvertently.
Well, I just mean that, do you think her connection to a faulty shadow has changed her perspective now she's the anti-hero, the Vegeta of this show now? Or is she still a villain and she's trying to trick them? I mean, she did have the semi-arc there of we're shadows, but we're also people too.
Yeah. I don't know, it's probably a trick.
Who's Erica?
I think she's the girl that the cop is into.
So it couldn't be this girl's mother, because she's married, and otherwise you're pitching adultery as a possible reward.
I think Erica's just a name they dropped, to be honest.
Because the only other girl I can remember us getting named was the one we compared to Jean all the time.
Yeah,
Who I will always say his name is Jin. But you
It's
said
fine.
Jean, and I just say
No, it's Gene. With the g sound. Gene.
like I said, Jin.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not finding anything about this Erica character. I don't know who that is.
By the way, in case you missed it, I think what you're saying is right. It's happening this episode right now.
Oh, good.
She just said someone printed the C in here.
Good.
You know, goddess of fishing, whatever.
Oh, well, there she is. Speak of the devil.
What? Did I miss something?
You mentioned the girl who looks like Gene, and there she is.
Where?
At like 9:30.
Obviously, I'm not going to rewind. My perspective is the perspective of the audience.
Yeah.
But I didn't see her at all.
She was standing there with two of the giant shadow babies. He basically like blocked off the path they came in from.
I did not see that at all.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to figure out who this Erica character was, and there was just no info.
So what you're saying, Erica is a shadow? That doesn't make sense because she gets killed on the 24th.
I don't know. I'm saying I didn't find anything, and that's all I'm saying.
No, sorry, not Erica. I don't know how. I was about to say something that would be politically incorrect. The girl with the eyes like Jean. You said you just saw her on the show.
Yeah, Tokiko.
Yeah, Tokiko. You said you just saw her surrounded by two half
She wasn't
babies.
surrounded, she came with them as guards. She's a shadow.
But she dies on the 24th during the festival.
Well, she's here now. It's a different timeline. When he saved other people, maybe they killed others. I don't know.
It's so hard to know things that are no longer true.
Right. Like, you have to learn information and then retcon it.
Well, it's like, what's the point of knowing if it's not right anymore?
The scientific method.
Well, I mean, I guess that just goes to show you that theory about how many days Bill Murray was all in that one day in Groundhog's Day. Because he would have to not only learn all the stuff, he'd also have to find out where people would be every time he changed to anything in the timeline.
人が通れる出入り口やな。見てみいぞ。この先は下水道とは違う。もともとここにあった自然の洞窟へ。まさか実在したんか。昼こと。
Good night.
子供の自分じいさんから聞いた話へ。人ヶ島の地下にはどでかい空洞が横たわっちゃあるんやと。それが昼子洞や。明治の半ば頃までは干潮の時だけ現れる。
This kid is really like, I feel like she's the key to understanding exactly
What
what we need
kid?
to know about the shadows. Fucking the Shiori.
Old guy is talking right now.
Are you watching the same episode? Well, he's talking now.
He's been
Talking
talking.
with the author.
He's been talking this
You
whole
didn't see
time.
did you not see the little girl like delete the bars?
We are different times. I don't know how you've gotten into a different time than me.
Yeah, I don't know. I paused it at 12:46. I pressed play the instant you said play.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
I'm on 11:22 right now. No
What in the
one,
goddamn fuck?
no wonder I didn't know what you were talking about when you said that she showed up with 2 babies. It hadn't happened for a minute yet for me.
What? No, I'm not. No, I'm just gonna go back. Where are you? 11 what?
Right now I'm at 11:44.
Thank you. I'm not gonna try and make heads or tails of this. I just... On your ready.
Oh, I didn't pause.
Oh, well shit. Where are you now?
12 in about 2 seconds.
Okay. Now did you see the bars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Given that
Okay.
I have to edit the video with audio and everything later, pausing, it's gonna be a nightmare in editing for me.
It's fine. I've already seen it, so I can skip around until I find it. But we're good. We're good.
Yeah, for a minute there I thought we were having you're watching a different episode thing again.
I thought too, and I was really pissed because I clicked that link and I didn't touch anything else except for play. But like we started at the same time. How did you end up a minute behind me? Am I like time traveling?
I have no
Are you
idea.
time traveling?
I hit play and nothing, like I'm not watching at half speed, so...
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the hell happened?
I don't know, maybe you accidentally clicked something on the time bar or something.
I don't know. That's possible.
Maybe she gets changed in this timeline when that FBI or whatever he represented guy showed up.
Maybe.
Because we talked about it, she looked suspicious in the one scene she was talking to Mio. Or she's not a shadow, and she's a human person working with them.
Oh, that would be crazy, actually. That's actually probably what's about to happen. Yeah.
There's no other reason why we hesitate on the scene of her shadow being
I mean,
shot.
she would have bled.
Yeah. Which then also explains how she can die on the 24th.
Yeah. You know who can kill people, though?
Cops.
Probably... Yeah.
Well, there's a cop down here, plus it's a cutting reminder of the real world that we all live in.
Yeah, no, that was the part that I, like, hesitated on. I was like, whoa. Topical. So there's humans working with the shadows then.
This entire time, we're talking about these babies in these caves underground. I keep wanting to bring up The Forest video game.
That's the one with the cannibals, right?
Yeah, but it's all connected to like an underground facility where they're working on trying to bring people back from death and everything like that. And lo and behold, here's a doctor, and here's underground babies. Out of the way, The Forest had underground mutant babies.
Yeah, this is probably some kind of like eternal life gimmick.
Well, it's what happens when you try to solve incurable diseases on children as they mutate and shit.
Every time.
Yeah.
I feel like that takes some of the fun out of it for me. But I think it's just because I've seen a lot of stuff lately that has like, oh yeah, it was just human experimentation, blah blah, no worries.
Well, then who does Mother turn out to be in that scenario?
Well, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but there was like a moment where I was like, Jesus. Like, that's just an assumption on my part. I don't know it for a fact.
So wait, is the cop not his dad?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Did we just assume that the cop was this guy's dad?
That, or there's a father to accompany the mother.
Yeah, but then how would Orange Hair know about that?
I think she's going to tell us that.
No, I'm saying he brought up father, not her.
Oh, I don't know. Are they siblings?
Uh,
She just called him. She just casually called him dad. She didn't say like your dad.
well, I don't know why he would say to her father, unless they're talking about the shared father.
Yeah, I don't know.
ミオさんを見失ってしまいました。無事でしょうか。
人の心配してる場合やないかもわからんぞ。見よよ。一体何やここは。わしら海の底におるんかい。
これはドフラインイソギンチャクですね。
ドフ？何やって？
深海の生物です。
Oh yeah, she's Ginger's younger sister. Got it.
I think that goes to show you that he's not a fisherman. He doesn't even know what a sea enemy is.
He just looks like he should be out on a boat fishing.
あなたが死んでないと仮定すれば辻褄が合うんですよ。あなたは僕にやられたように見せかけ地中へ潜った。違いますか？姉は下水道が怪しいと睨んでいた。
へえ、さすがヒズルや。なんで邪魔しに帰ってきた。次に会うたら殺す言うたやろ。お前に言うてもわからんか。南方龍之介。
おいお前。
Interesting, she's using the right name.
まさかヒズルの中に入っとったとはな。
そうや。はいね。
14年ぶりの再会というわけですか。しかし
Ooh, is this the one that killed her parents?
It's the one that was also in charge at the 24th at the festival.
Yeah, I do remember that.
母の右目を奪い去った。体の方は
Oh, he has eyes now. He didn't have those before.
Yeah, he could have been ginning it.
True.
Also, the reveal right there that, oh, what the hell was that? I don't know if we've seen them glow blue before. Oh yeah, we did back at the time travel during the festival. No, the reveal right there that, the author stole Mother's
Wait, hold
eye.
up. She can't read the old man.
Also, the reveal the author stole Mother's eye.
Uh-huh.
That's big.
That's pretty fucking big.
Well, I mean, we thought what's her name stole the eye.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just trying to take this in right now.
分かってます。
Oh, that's right. They could also see the future a little bit. I forgot. The author, I mean.
はい、ワンダー。
Oh, I guess also he could too. Oh, now we got a name.
That looks familiar. I think we got it once, but I think that's it.
Also, this very much follows my luck in the Gundam reaction shows of my favorite characters dying.
Damn, they just kept running.
先を読んで当てるいうのは
終わんのか。
必要ないでしょう。血が黒い肝臓を撃ち抜きました。致命傷です。放っておいてもじき死ぬ。牛尾と新平君たちは
I love that attitude. Technically, you could have left him alive and he would have died eventually.
それよりもわしはお腹ペコペコや。早く9時にならんかの。
So do they have specific feeding times then?
Yeah, you saw that earlier when they
Okay.
showed the doctor, and he said that they're hungry. 9 o'clock has come.
新平は武器を捨てて降参した
I wonder if that's just like an arrangement or like if that's like a biological thing.
Well, he had a dead body on the table, so I mean,
ギリギリまで
I don't know what the
remember that.
implication is there.
そうやろ新平
Also, you think he'd have his other arm wrapped up too?
私とちゃうでヒルコ様です彼女の腹の虫です
So the
Okay, so the
name,
fishing goddess is real.
the name of the cavern is also the name of the person that's in it.
許してくれとは言いませんこうなった以上私が望むのはみんなにも納得してもらうことです父は兄に話すことには反対してますけど誰にも言うなって警告するまでもなく誰にも言わ
Okay, so Dad's been working with the shadows from the get-go.
でもね新平
Like I said, I don't think that we thought before that the cop is their father.
Yeah. You're definitely right on that one.
ミオを巻き込むつもり
Unless, again, it is their father and it's like her just working with them.
優しいんですね
I think the implication is that the doctor is their father.
長い長い影が
うん
天井まで伸びているその影の根元には
Oh, shit!
ちょうど9時やな
You had a much very different reaction than what I just had.
食事の時間じゃ
Well, at this point in the story, she's not even supposed to, like, exist yet. She hasn't been reborn.
What do you mean reborn? Oh, you mean the festival thing?
Yeah.
Well, I
But
mean,
she's here underground, so that's...
she's also time
interesting.
traveling. Remember? Because we also
Yeah,
got the.
yeah.
No, I had instant disappointment. Is what I felt. Oh, she's a real physical person who has physical needs. Because she's on an IV trip there.
Mhm.
Instead of being some mystical. I don't know. I had expectations for her being the
It's
time
definitely
traveling mystical creature.
It's definitely not how I saw it. The oh shit was, of all the things I was expecting to see, like, despite the fact that I had the theory that she was Hidoko, it's not what I was expecting to see. Like, this early, I was not... I figured it'd be a little bit before we saw her again.
Oh, she is Hiroko.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Despite the fact that I was operating under that assumption, and then Tokiko was like, yeah, here's Hiroko. Like, I don't know why I was expecting to, like, not see her. I was expecting to be wrong.
I expected her to be a shadow, not a physical person with a medical problem. Which
Honestly,
really
yeah.
leans into the forest once again, where the shadows are a creation of trying to solve her imminent death. And then we have the half-headed baby mutants.
The top comment on this says, oh, this is on par with ReZero for me. And I'm like, damn, it's kind of approaching that for me too, but it's not a compliment for me. I didn't love that one.
I really like ReZero. As I've said
It
many
wasn't for
times,
me.
every time you say
Yeah.
that.
I know. I just love how that's like the top comment. I'm fucking laughing.
Ah, God, this episode is a hard one to parse. Not because it's full of anything I didn't understand, but more so it's... I don't feel like we've dipped any further down into the valley metaphor. I feel like we're valley plateaued.
We're valleying right now.
We didn't go up, we didn't go down. I mean, the introduction of human participants was
That was
cool
that was
reveal.
definitely surprising.
Yeah, it's a cool reveal.
I liked that.
Because now, God, I don't know. There's multiple elements of things mixing together that I both like and don't like. Because now we're almost in a world of magic, if you think about it, where anything can happen and anything can be explained via that. Like, as I was complaining about at the beginning of the episode, the fact that shadows can now turn into objects.
Yeah. At the very least, we know Mio or Ushio can because she's weird and defective.
Well, I mean, now we have shadows can be people, shadows can be objects, and also normal human people can also be following the shadows.
Yeah.
Which means that you not only have to worry about the traitor defectors, you also have to worry about people who aren't the people you thought they were. And also this pen. This pen could be a shadow.
This guitar pick could be a shadow.
Anything. Anything. Because she doesn't have to
This
be,
pen.
literally doesn't have to be body mass anymore. Right?
They just have to copy something and
Yeah.
take its appearance.
Not like the normal fantasy RPG rules. Like, you can turn any object the same mass of yourself. Right? I could turn into a chair. A large chair. Right?
Right.
No, I could turn into a small pendant 1/50th my own mass. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
okay. I could be a button on your shirt. You fell asleep and I sewed myself into your shirt. It's like, okay, well, I had no right to
That
fight
sounds
this.
like a really very specific fetish.
Well, I mean, it's like that same concept of like those cameras that are so small they could be an item on your clothing so people can't tell.
Right.
And I'm also sure being clothing on somebody is a fetish.
Probably. There's a fetish for everything.
But, yeah, no, I'm just saying. I really could have done, if all three elements are taken together, I could have really have done without the shadows could turn into objects. The prop hunt element, I think, is what's throwing me hardest.
I kind of hope it doesn't, like,
Not a main
become
plot
a
point.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of hope Ushio's the only one who does that, and I hope it's just for the convenience of her getting around unnoticed.
Yeah, I hope in the next 13 episodes is not, okay, we
Yeah.
shoot shadows under people. We have to look out for this thing that that identifies objects as shadows. And then we also have to question every person's motivations to make sure they're not working with the shadows.
I'm gonna call it now. Like, just mentally prepare yourself. There's probably going to be a prop hunt episode. Probably just one. Maybe two.
And then there's shadow creatures as a fourth thing. Because those babies aren't turning into people. And they're not doing
Right.
shadow stuff.
Yeah, they really give me, like, botched experiment vibes.
Yeah, and we know that there's a doctor operating, which is
Yep.
still very much the forest.
So either the shadows are artificial to begin with, or they were a supernatural entity that have been, like, fucked with using science and stuff.
Well, they've appeared before in the past, given the author's experience.
Yeah,
But there's
definitely.
also mythology around it, like God, I don't want to say fisherman. What was
Fishing goddess.
his name? Started with an N. N-E...
Nezu?
Nezu, yeah. That Nezu was mentioned before, like the whole mythological background of the cave that bore the same name as Mother's actual name, as it turns out now. And again, the fact that... God, I don't even know what's going on there. The fact that she's real and hooked up to an IV drip.
Like a tangible person who is, like, sickly and shit like that. Like,
Right, which
she's
means...
not this, like, terrifying, like, interdimensional timeline hopping, like, crazy murder goddess that, like, we thought. Like, she's a girl hooked up to a drip.
But she
you know?
will be, though, which tells to me at some
Yeah.
point in the next couple of days, a shadow is going to flash her and turn her into one. Or... No, that doesn't make sense because she's missing an eye.
Yeah, the whole point is to get her eye back and restore her power, I thought.
But she's already time traveled as a shadow.
I mean, we know she has some power still, just maybe not all of it.
That
not
she
everything
has
she needs.
knowledge of stuff that's to come. Like, she would know to look out for Shinji and try to hunt him down, unless she knows what Shinji does. Which means that she has the meta-knowledge of what happened.
And there's also, keep this in mind, right? We don't know that she knows. She could literally just be tracking him through time specifically, and then once she hops, it's like, okay, well now I gotta figure out what to do, just like him.
I'm going to throw it out there because I don't think I've actually said it out loud. I think I've said everything around it. I think there's two different versions of her right now.
And that's why I hate time travel stories. Once you start adding in alternate versions of the self or like fucking contradictions and shit like, I get so exhausted. I'm not smart enough to keep up with that
Well, I
shit.
think that she is shadow defector or whatever. I don't know what you call the faction of humans with shadows. She's one of them. That their shadows are like worshipping as the mother figure or whatever, and that she is going to be. I guess the festival is supposed to elevate her to this super position where she becomes the
That
person that's
that
traveling
could
through
make
time.
sense. I
And
just thought that they like the way that I interpreted the whole festival scene was they killed people, piled the bodies, and then used those bodies to make a body for her. That's the way I thought I saw
well,
it. So at this point,
there was the whole thing where they did the Evangelion, where the starlight spreading across the ground and people who were
yeah,
not even at the festival were being merged together as one.
yeah.
But I'm saying that the post-festival version of her is the one that's meta to the timeline, the one that's tracking him down and everything like that. So
So she can make sure that she gets revived in the future.
I don't know. I think they're completely unrelated versions. Like one is, well, I don't know. I would say like one's like an almost godlike entity, and the other one is existing in the now. So my pitch is that the one that's in the cave right now is human and doesn't know all the things that are going on. Like she's temporally now. She's as now as every
Ooh.
other character is. And that the one that we saw reach for him through the time and everything is the future version that knows everything and isn't interacting with their past version.
So I kind of like that, but also hear me out. They know about Shinpei and his eye already, and I think they only learned that on the night of the festival just before it happened. So I think that this is the one who time traveled and she made them aware of that and is like, "Yo, listen." Like I think she time traveled the moment the mark appeared on his arm, so that's just earlier this day, right? Or late the day before.
Earlier this day, but during a flashback, which is who the hell knows when that happens
Yeah.
actually.
So it would make sense if the only reason they're acting now is because she just got here.
So you're going back on the whole shadows can telepathically communicate with one another thing.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm saying she came back in time and was like, "Yo, Shadows, what's up? It's your girl. Get this guy."
No, I mean that your previous assumption that the reason that they were acting was that they were taking actions that they hadn't previously taken and were now changing their activity based on
Yeah.
their telepathic communications with one another.
Oh, it has nothing to do with telepathy. It's just general, however they want to communicate. I don't recall saying anything about telepathy for this theory specifically, but I do think they have it.
Well, you had mentioned it previously on how
Yeah,
they were communicating with one another so fast and why everything was changing so quickly.
yeah. I'm still standing by that theory. I don't think that it necessarily has any impact either way with this specific thing I'm talking about. I don't think it matters.
I don't think that human her is the one that's gone back in time.
I I definitely think we're gonna get the answer to that next episode. There's no way they're not gonna just explain to us at least a little bit how she's there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know that they're going to explain to us. I think she's gonna tell him what she's up to so that
Mhm.
in the hopes that he'll help her. Like, she'll pull the whole what we're doing isn't wrong, and once I explain it to you, obviously an insane person would be on
Luke,
our
join me
side.
and we can rule the galaxy together.
Yeah, yeah. The the psychopath isn't gonna see what they're doing is wrong because they've justified it a long time ago. That's why
I'd really like that. Like I don't know if I want him to take that obviously, right? But I kind of want that to be kind of where it's going. Like, look, I can't follow you through this time. You keep fucking getting through my grips. let me just be upfront with you. This is why we're doing this, and you should help us because you have half my power. So let's go. I think I would like that.
Right. I mean, I see that's what would happen, but at the same time, I don't think this is her from the future. I think this is her before she's able to come from the future.
Honestly, the way that this story works, both are really plausible. I think
Right.
it's honestly a 50-50 chance on
I'm
it.
taking an Occam's razor to this in that I think it'd be more complicated and harder to explain to say that Shadow her comes from the future and then turns into a human being. I think it's more easily to. I know we're working on extremes here, but even then, I think it's more easy to say that given what we know, that there's an event that happens that creates a godlike version of her, and that this is
Mhm.
a previous version of her that's human. Because if we're to believe that all shadows come from humans, which might not be true, but if we are to believe that because we've seen that with everybody else,
Because we've
except
been led to
for
believe it.
except for three things. The half-headed babies, which we don't know the origin of, the guy with 6 eyes, which we don't know the origin of,
Yeah.
and her, which technically we don't know the origin of, and we're just spitballing. But all the other shadows have been created from flash images of people. So I am led to believe, based on the two other exceptions to the rule, that she still follows the rule. But the only thing that throws me off about that is that past her is missing an eye, which leans more into your interpretation than mine.
And that's kind of mostly why I feel it. But as far as like you were talking earlier about the rules of the world and this and that, your theory holds more water. But I really just feel like gut feeling. I need to stick with it. She's from the carnival or the festival. She went back in time after finding that connection through the memory, and now here she is. I have to stick with it.
Third pitch, I don't like it at all, but
I'll hear
I
it.
feel like it's gonna happen, possibly. Despite the IV drip, she's an immortal being and she's actually the god. She's like 1,000 years old and just looks like a little girl, as you do in
Oh yeah.
Japanese anime. If you're a vampire or whatever, you're like 2,000 years old, but you look like a little girl. And
Honestly, I feel like that theory melds really well with yours.
and that she lost her eye because it was taken from her, and
Yeah.
that this festival is just something that happens every 1,000 years or something.
I'm pretty sure the festival happens annually.
Well, yeah, I mean, humans
Or you mean like
celebrate it
this big event?
annually. Yeah, humans celebrate it annually, but
The big
mythologically,
shadow event is like
yeah.
1,000 years. I can see that. I think honestly, if you just meld that theory with your first one, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, it explains why she's missing an eye, but not being a
Yep.
time traveler.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't like it. I don't like my own theory, but it's plausible.
It is plausible.
It's based on less of what we know from the show and more of what we know of anime tropes.
Yeah. And I mean, tropes exist for a reason.
I
Like
mean,
they're patterns that get followed.
as far as I know, she doesn't show up on the top 10 girls of anime season, so.
No, I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, any other theories or anything?
Nah, I honestly feel like we talked a lot more about this than I thought we would.
I mean, the only other thing, obviously, is that tomorrow is the festival.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I don't know why it's called Bloody Night, since we know
So
what
are
happens
we
on the
like,
festival night.
all right, so do you think we're getting another reset here, or do you think we're just going to the next
Oh,
day?
we have to get another reset. 2 major characters just died.
That's true.
I don't think they're gonna let us end. Also, we have 13 episodes. I don't think we're writing off 2 major characters.
Oh, definitely not. I was just wondering if, like, maybe are we going to reset here, or are we going to reset at the festival again?
Well, she might try to take her eye back and in the process accidentally kill him. Also, you
He
gotta
might honestly
remember,
put a nail gun through his own head, honestly.
I don't know, that's a ReZero move.
I
ReZero,
mean, if he were pushed up against the wall and it's like, okay, people are already dead and I have no options, I could see him doing it.
last time somebody had to do it for him.
Yep.
Every other time someone's had to do it for him. And
Yeah,
he
in this
doesn't
case, he's not going to have that option.
he doesn't feel like the ReZero main character who would go so far as to bite his own tongue off in order to die to make sure that he can go back and do everything right. This
Well, yeah,
kid
the main
doesn't feel
character
that
isn't
way.
fucking clinically insane.
I don't know if ReZero guy is clinically insane. I think he just
He is in my eyes.
in my watching of the show, he just cares. Because I mean, I'm gonna break kayfabe here. Yes. And defend ReZero for a moment. That the whole point is that he was basically a shithead in the real world who broke down because of one stupid event and became a person that he didn't like. And now he's trying to become a person that he won't believe in. Which is why he's willing to do insane stuff like throw himself off a cliff or bite his own tongue off to ensure that he creates the perfect timeline where everybody lives. It's not like he's creating the timeline where it's Groundhog's Day, everybody has the perfect day. He's like, I can't let this person die, and that's it. That's why I don't see him as insane. It's just, I've got this one power where I can make sure things happen the right way. And it's just the world around him constantly making it so, alright, well, I killed myself and I made sure this thing didn't happen. Oh, these 5 other things were happening while I was solving that other problem. Damn it. And
Yeah,
that's why I'm
that's
saying that this character doesn't feel like that character. He's being faced with one problem at a time, and they often do not feel like problems where he has to kill himself.
No, definitely not. I'm just saying that this situation that he might find himself in might be like what tips it. It all depends, because like he needs the eye if he can freaking time travel. So like, if it gets to a point where they're about to take it, he might do it if there's no other
The
option.
only reason I could see him killing himself is that Mio is just behind him on the path. He might not live with another Mio death.
Yeah, plus he has 2 of his friends right there with him too.
That might turn
Like,
into not a ReZero, but a Steins Gate.
Well, you know what? At some point, I'm just gonna have to fucking sit down and watch that. You reference it every goddamn time we sit down.
Oh, you didn't see Steins Gate?
No, and I've said it before too.
And you don't want to watch it, or you would, or
I just haven't gotten to it. I have so many things on so many lists, and I just don't get to them.
see, that's what I'm not asking about. Like, hey, you want to watch it? I'm pulling a, hey, if I say this spoiler thing, would you care?
Oh, I mean, go ahead, because I'm probably gonna mad forget it by the time I get to it.
Because I mean, I don't want to spoil it if you are gonna watch it, but like Griffin
I,
on our
I,
other.
I am eventually going to get to it, but I promise you, I'm not gonna remember whatever it is you're about to say.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying Griffin and the other ones doesn't give a shit about spoilers, even if he hasn't watched it. He plans to.
I only care about spoilers for things that I know I'm going to check out soon, and I'm interested in. Otherwise, I do not care.
Okay, I'll pull a different angle then. Did you
I'm not gonna
watch?
watch this soon, so it's
Did
fine.
you watch the What Ifs for Marvel?
Can we not cycle through the things that I just haven't seen? It's gonna take an hour.
Well, I figured you watched the Doctor Strange thing, so you might have seen the Doctor Strange What
No,
If.
I was just invited to go to the movies, and I did. Like, honestly, the only thing I'm watching right now is King of the Hill, and I'm going through all the Disney Star Wars stuff.
Alright, you remember the one King of the Hill episode where Bobby time travel? Okay, you're saying, hey, let's not bring up everything I haven't watched. We understand I don't know what you haven't watched until I
know,
bring
but
it up.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's easier to narrow down on the things that I have seen than the things that I haven't when it comes to
But I don't know what you've
anything we
seen.
might haven't. But that's what I'm saying. Like, every single time you bring up anything, I just haven't seen it. That's what I'm saying.
I am desperately reaching back into my mind about anything that matches up the reference I'm trying to make. That
I
has happened in multiple media.
I would like to just once again go back and say you can make the Steins Gate reference. I'm
Yeah,
not going to remember it.
there was such a major plot element that, I mean,
It's fine.
you would see it coming if I mentioned it to you.
It's fine. I'm not gonna remember.
His childhood best friend dies, like gets killed in front of him, and by that point he has the power of time travel at his
Mhm.
beck and call, so he tries to save her. And every oh, I should have brought up. Did you watch The Time Machine? God damn you. Anyway,
I'm telling you, just stop asking if I've seen things. Just start explaining your reference. Like, just go into it.
I don't want to. I don't want to full on start spoiling every possible thing.
I know.
So
I'm a
anyway,
difficult person to
yeah,
work
his
with, I know.
friend dies in front of him. He goes back to save her, and every possible circumstance of her surviving, she dies in, to the point that he has to just accept that she's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know,
And you're saying like we might have to just see the scenario with Shinpei at some point and Mio?
honestly, I've forgotten
Or are you saying
why I
like you
brought it
want to
up.
see that, or like this is a situation where he might kill himself? We kind of had a couple like different things going
The
on.
concept of why I brought that up has so far escaped me due to the fact of me racking my brain trying to come up with a scenario which you have both seen the thing that I was trying to bring up and the show where it might have happened in.
Yeah, that's. I tried to be helpful. I tried to say just make the reference.
Right, but again, I don't want to spoil things that
I
you
totally
are
get it.
possibly going to watch.
If
Steins
moving
Gate,
forward, if I say it's okay to spoil something, it's because I either don't care or it's so far in the future I will forget. I have the memory retention of a fruit fly.
right, but the possibility always exists in my head that there is a secondary or tertiary reference I could be making that you
Uh-huh.
would know about. Like halfway
Totally.
into the Steins Gate one, I thought, oh, this also happens in the movie The Time Traveler. Not the Time Traveler, the Time Machine. Yeah, which is possible you could have seen because it was a alright movie. And I'm sure it'll occur to me like an hour after this. Here's another thing I could have referenced.
Yeah, no, I'm fully expecting a DM later, like, yo, listen, this, and I'll have to be like, sorry, I haven't seen it.
It's a trope that exists in media
Mhm.
of somebody of time. I think it's mainly a time travel trope of somebody dies. I have the power to save you. No, this is a fixed point. You have to die.
Yeah. Yeah, that trope I'm very, very familiar with.
Yeah, now I'm trying to remember what time travel media brings up the idea of a fixed point in reality.
Random thought, do you think they're gonna do that with the FF7 remake?
Oh yeah, I know there's been theory crafting that I haven't seen yet for the new game because as far as I recall, the Crisis Core remake is going to be exactly the same as the original Crisis Core.
Yeah, so basically they're releasing a set that has those like 3 games there, just remastered because that's what people wanted. They were like, we want the same game but looking better, so that's what this is. But with the actual FF7 remake, like for the PS4, PS5, like that's a whole new story.
Right. I'm not just saying that
Yeah.
Crisis Core is supposed to tie into the events of the new remake sequel, and the Crisis Core remake is going to be
Absolutely.
100% the same as the original Crisis Core. Nothing is being changed about that storyline.
Exactly. Because it's now actually relevant to the remake.
But the shadow creatures, ironic, from the first remake game
You
are
mean
no
the
longer.
Force of Destiny?
I thought the bosses at the end of that game were the forces of destiny.
I mean,
I
yeah,
know
but
the
didn't they all kind of
theorycraft
make
is out
something up?
there. The theorycraft is out there that they're supposed to represent the 3 characters that are splits of Sephiroth from Advent Children, but I believe that one's been debunked already. That
Oh,
despite
Lushu,
them
Yazoo, whatever.
that
Yeah.
despite them
No.
sharing both the weapons and the looks of the future Sephiroth clone people, that they're not actually those people. That's just
Well, they literally can't be those people. Those people are gone, and one of them became the Sephiroth that's in the game now. That Sephiroth is the Advent Children Sephiroth.
right. But if you believe that they're all future iterations, that then any future iteration could have also existed to come back. But yeah, anyway, since those shadow things no longer exist to interrupt time, that everything else should be basically a fixed point that now has the ability to be meddled with
Yeah.
by future Sephiroth and future Aerith. Because you have present Aerith, and you also have future Aerith, which I believe has also come back through the time stream.
I don't know if she's come back, but I do know the live stream has definitely been like, "Yo, girl, this has happened before."
Well, she's not in human version. She's in the person that's been sacrificed to the to the live stream. So she is in the live stream of the planet, but she's not in human body Earth. But she's still manipulating events as well as Sephiroth. But since she's not, it was brought up in a interview with Maximilian Dude and Strippin that I believe Strippin brought it up. That God, I can't remember where it comes from, but it's a series of like book things that have like 1 or 2 page like mid-chapter events which are from the perspective of future Sephiroth and future Aerith. So they're like book black and book white with obviously who's representing what.
Yeah, Sephiroth is white because of his white wing, right? Haha. No, just kidding.
Yeah, and there's only 1 page each for them. Anyway, but yeah, no, I mean they're cryptic, but when Strippin was explaining it in the readings and the relation, if you look back to the remake, about how both of them represent what's going on now, and they're both taken from the account of what happens after the events of Final Fantasy VII. What happens after the events of Advent Children, but in the middle of also what happens before the start of remake. And I've already reached that point where I've started the conversation and forgotten what the start of it was.
I actually have two. Oh well.
It's a plot point that you can look up, that there are excerpts that exist. Also, you could just look up Strippin' Maximilian Dude Final Fantasy Remake discussion and
Oh. So what happened was, we got detracted from Summertime Render, and I asked you if you think Aerith's gonna die in the remake. That's how we started that.
oh yeah, I think she's gonna die again.
Sweet. Because we were actually I was using that as an example to talk about fixed points.
Well, I mean, we've already seen Tifa get
Yeah.
a flash forward of the fixed point where she's in costume lying on the ground at one of the Mako reactors.
That was a flashback.
I think it was a flash forward.
It was in Crisis Core. Crisis Core is trust me, when it comes to Crisis Core, I know my Crisis Core. She was younger.
Here's the problem that I'm facing now with this conversation is that it was a flash forward to a story point that we aren't 100% certain on, that just also happens to take place in the past. The very same point, in fact, of like when you're breaking down elements, the moment at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake with Zack walking towards the Shinra city.
Yeah.
That people wanted to point out that what's the dog's name?
The
mascot.
Red 13.
No, the mascot dog.
Oh. I don't fucking remember.
You remember when they're traveling in the sewer? Not the sewer. Well, the sewer is the train track area of Shinra City. That they used the mascot dog to point the way for them. He has a fun little theme song. He has the helmet, the military helmet with the 3 stars on it.
Not ringing a bell right now.
Anyway, he's used to sell products throughout Shinra City. Midgard, I don't know why I keep calling it Shinra City.
I
Shinra,
mean, it's not like it's not Shinra City.
yeah. But yeah, no, he's used to sell products throughout there, and it has a very specific uh, product logo on the bag stuff that he has, and everyone points out that the bag that flies by Zack in that one scene is a completely different bag to the ones that we've seen before. So they keep pointing out that, oh, it's an alternate reality, that Zack isn't going to cross with the Zack that existed in the past of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So we might be dealing with a multiverse thing and not a time thing.
I mean, it's definitely. I think it's just a split timeline.
That's what I'm saying. Is that's what people are pointing.
Like it's a fork in the temporal road. You
A
know.
split timeline is a multiverse.
I guess it's just weird because I don't know. It feels like you like split the timelines and then you sort of like just pushed them back
You watched
together.
Back to the Future, right?
Okay, so there's a yes to this, but an asterisk. I was very little.
Okay. In Back to the Future Part 2.
I didn't see that one. I only saw the first.
Well, I'm spoiling because fuck you.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah. It's just one of those medias. It's been out for so long. If you haven't watched it, then I don't know what to say.
It's on me at that point. You
Yeah,
know?
it's not like Steins Gate, which was like maybe in the last 7 years.
It's one of those things where if I cared, I would have seen it by now,
And then at this point, we're like 41 years or so. But yeah,
give or take.
Biff goes back in time, gives himself the sports almanac, creates a split timeline where he uses that information to bet on sports events and, becomes rich and basically in charge of a bunch. He becomes Trump, and before Trump was a big thing we all should have cared about. But yeah, which stands opposed to the. He becomes Trump in 1985, which stands opposed to the Biff, which was a bully to Marty's father in 1985, or the Biff who was a simp, or I don't know what you call whatever, to Marty's father in 1985 post the events of the first movie. So that's 3 different timelines. So before those events happen, say 1984, year I was born. 1984,
Happy
what I'm saying, 1984, not a split timeline. It's one universe, one timeline. 1985, we split into 3 different timelines. So say you're in 1986, Biff, all-powerful Biff, is another universe. Bully Biff is another universe. Cowering Biff is another universe. That's a multiple universe, a multiverse, if you will. So you might represent that just by saying it's a split timeline. That also represents a multiverse. But
No,
a
you're right about that,
multiverse
yeah.
is also represented by when you're looking at it, I guess, to your benefit. That 1984, that's not a multiverse. 1985, that's a split timeline. 1986, that's a multiverse. Because things are so different.
And this is why I just try to avoid time travel stuff, man. I have to
Clearly, you
think
also
so
haven't
hard.
watched Loki, so
No, I
because
haven't.
that's also a major
Alright,
plot point of Loki.
The main example I have of my experience with something like that is probably something you don't have experience with, and that's Final Fantasy 13 too.
No, that's with lightning, right?
No, that's Lightning Returns. That's the third one.
Oh, I thought
That's the one
all
where you
those
play
had
as.
lightning.
He's technically in it for 5 seconds at the end cutscene, but you're actually playing as her sister that the whole game.
I haven't played any of 13. I got as far as I think 11.
I like them narratively, but the only one that's actually fun to play is Lightning Returns.
I mean, technically, Final Fantasy 1 is all about a time travel paradox. So
Yeah, I do know that. I've only played like a few cherry-picked Final Fantasies, to be honest.
I mean, my main in on this is, have you ever heard of the Incarnations of Immortality?
Don't think so.
It's a book series.
No.
Piers Anthony. I've heard of. Also is famous for Xanth, which is their fantasy uh their fantasy thing, which when you look at the map is basically Florida. It's the map of Florida. Well, it's lampshaded in one episode where they travel beyond the physical borders of their own reality and go to actual Florida. But
That's fucking funny.
no, incarnations of mortality happens in our actual reality, except magic comes back. Like in the past, with the stuff that we labeled as miracles and mythology, were all real, and they all just went away for thousands of years because they all died off or whatever. And then magic comes back, so we start teaching magic in schools, things like that. And there's like a magic particle, so you can think about it scientifically as well. Wizards exist, like, and they're gauged by how powerful they are. Like,
So it's Star Wars.
well, no, it's like it's more based on reality. Like, a major thing is that the devil is after your soul, so he has like billboards and everything.
Okay, Vader's after your life. Got it.
And magic companies compete with technological companies. Like, the magic carpet industry competes with both cars and airplanes.
All right, so the Clone Wars, we got the Force versus the droids. Got it.
Well, I mean, like billboards.
I'm being an ass.
Yeah, there's like famously there's billboards of like flying carpets will get you there faster than cars, but at the same time there's also like airplanes where they're one part of it is showing people comfortable in the cabin of an airplane versus people getting rained on in the middle of a storm on their open magic carpet. But incarnations of immortality are basically what it says on the tin. They're incarnations. One person is death, so death isn't like an immortal being, it's somebody who holds an office. So like the first book, riding a white horse, the main character goes to commit suicide and gets shocked by the incarnation of death coming to take his soul. In a split second, shoots death. It kills him. And then has to take on the incarnation. He has to learn the job of death.
This is the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, but edgy. I like it.
But also way before the Santa Claus. But no,
So the Santa Claus ripped off some wizards.
but no, I think like the third or fourth book is Kronos, the incarnation of time, who lives backwards in time. And if he concentrates real hard, he can interact with the flow of time in the normal forward events.
Neat.
So he starts off as an old man, because typically the incarnation of Kronos grabs they all have their physical thing. He grabs the hourglass as an old man and then lives his life backwards in time. So basically,
A really weird Benjamin Button sequel.
yeah, basically you see like a child or an infant appear with the hourglass, boom, and then vanishes because they basically reach the beginning of their life and no longer exist. And then it's your job to reach out and take the hourglass and become the incarnation. I mean, basically all these people are trying to thwart the devil. Which, as you find out, I think like Book 11, is himself an incarnation. God and the devil are
11 books to realize that?
Well, because you're seeing it through the perspective of every incarnation. And like Book 11, For Love of Evil, is the introduction as the devil as a character. So you're seeing everything through the devil's eyes. At which point they're actually a good guy, being thwarted constantly by everyone that sees them as evil. Basically, from the devil's perspective,
right.
the devil's perspective, God's not doing their job. Because by that point in time, God is still God. It hasn't been disposed of by the angels and everything. There's also other gods, so it's no, this God is the real God.
It's not like the one biblical Christian God. It's just like, this guy is God.
God, the devil meets Yahweh during the course of their events, which is the Jewish God.
Yeah.
And they're friends, because the devil doesn't like Nazis. The devil did not create the Nazis.
I Can't imagine anyone likes Nazis but Nazis.
Yeah. The devil did not create the Nazis. The Nazis sprung up from humans. Humans created Nazis. And the devil helped the Jewish people during that point in time. And Yahweh thanks the devil for it when the devil shows up at a place where Yahweh still exists. But yeah, no,
I think I've got to go now.
alright, it's fine. We've gone way off track.
Yeah.
But I like to also think that I've introduced anybody who listens this far into a concept that they might have been interested in and would read, because they're a very good book series up until the last one.
Yeah, honestly, could you send me the title because I know someone who might be interested.
Well, at some point they're supposed to also make it into a television series. So,
Well, that'd be neat. Then it leaves me something to look forward
well, I
to.
mean, they've been working on that for 20 years, so who the hell knows? Maybe it'll never be made. But yeah, no, this has been Stoneface Reactions talking for at least 20 minutes about Summertime Render.
Stuff that isn't the episode we're watching, you know.
No, 20 minutes about Summertime Render, and then a lot of tangential, related, and unrelated stuff.
As we do.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you next time. I've been Raktus, this has been Chey. Bye.
Later.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?